Welcome to a wash with colour from the beautiful Loch na Fui in the heart of Connemara. This is the perfect location for a painting. And later in the programme, I'll be helping my guest, actress and comedian Pauleen Mc Glynn, to capture some of his beauty and splendour in watercolours. Kylemore Castle was originally built in 1868 by a Manchester business tycoon, Mitchell Henry, as a present for his wife Margaret. After the sudden deaths of his wife and daughter, Henry left Kylemore and the castle was sold. It became an abbey when the Benedictine nuns fleeing from Belgium during World War I bought the castle and set up a boarding school for girls, which they still run to this day. Kylemore Abbey is one of the most beautifully preserved Gothic buildings in Ireland. The setting here on Kylemore Lake is simply idyllic. Despite the opulence of houses like Kylemore, the 19th century was a bleak and poverty-stricken era in the west of Ireland. This is Dúloch, the dark lake. The name suits the place, and not just because of the calm beauty of the water. During the Irish famine, 600 men, women and children walked from Louisburg in County Mayo through this valley to Delphi Lodge to beg for food. Delphi Lodge was home to the Marquess of Sligo. In 1847, one of the worst years of the famine, a local authority meeting had been convened here. It was to this gathering that the 600 appealed for help, but their plea fell on deaf ears. When they were turned away at Delphi, they started out on the return journey home. Along the way, 400 of them died of starvation. Today, this memorial overlooking the lake is dedicated to their memory. My guest today is an accomplished writer, actress, comedian, and the woman behind Mrs. Doyle, Craggy Island's parochial housekeeper from hell, Pauleen Mc Glynn.
I suppose, you know, the bug was always there somewhere, you know, when you think of it. At primary school, I got to play the Archangel Gabriel and Snow White in two fabulous costumes that my mother made for me. Very good at all that. But it wasn't really till I went to college that I joined the Drama Society players in Trinity, and I got really serious and I fell into it thereafter. Rather than going and taking a sensible job when I left college, fell into the old acting. But my mother and father indeed are agreed that on both sides of their families there are plenty of good storytellers and show-offs. I'm just the first to get paid for it in a professional way, I think, you know. And I suppose I've acted with all the major theatres around Ireland, or I hope I have by now, and I need to revisit them soon because there's nothing like performing in front of a live audience. When Father Ted came along, it opened up a lot of television doors and film doors, funnily enough, and there's an awful lot more of that happening in Ireland now than there used to. So I've been concentrating, I suppose, more over the last few years on film and television, but I feel a bit of theatre coming back on again now. should all be very careful on the mainland. There's a lot of crime around. Arsonists and muggers everywhere. My friend Mrs. O'Dwyer was robbed last week.
Oh, no. Did they get much?
No, Father, I don't think you understand. She was robbed. They stole her.
I
Father Ted was a bit of an accident for me, really. A very happy one, I have to say, and I'm delighted with it. Because the character that I played in Mrs. Doyle is a slightly older lady than even I am now, although I'm growing into the part bit by bit. You know, when auditions were being held for the part, the producers and directors wouldn't see me because they said I was too young for it. But I was doing a show in the Abbey at the time and ate a very bad chicken sandwich one night, and the following day going in for my audition for Mrs. Ted. Whoops, Freudian slip. But as I went in for my audition for Mrs. Doyle, I wasn't a bit well, and I think that grey pallor really suited me. And for the part, I looked really quite drawn and old. At that stage, they were just seeing everybody who was left in the country, you know, so I was in, if you like, the last sweepings. Some very fine actresses in there, you know, but happily, because I looked grey, I walked off with it.
Oh, God, no, I could never be one of those have-a-go heroes.
Basically, when you got to sit down with this perfectly formed, really funny script, it was just such a treat. And as the series went on, obviously they were writing a bit more with you in mind. I mean, when they discovered that Mrs. Doyle could fall off windowsills and didn't seem to have any fear of doing it, as one benefit, I suppose, for having a younger woman playing the part, I got to do lots of falling around then, you know, and looking back on it now, they were certainly the best of times, even though we accuse them of being the worst times as well, you know. And the absolute pleasure of even now seeing it on the television, it's just great fun to watch, and so, you know, and to remember all the good times.
Well, tell me, you have a couple of books out now.
I do. I've two out so far. I'm just finishing my third novel. They're all based around a private detective called Leo Street who lives and works in Dublin. A woman, as it turns out, who's just turned 30. Had to cast my mind back a bit for that. And, you know, it's to do with her life and her work and all of that. I always found it very difficult in the beginning to be able to say out loud, yes, I'm a writer as well now, you know. I nearly got through it without stammering there, didn't I? Well, I suppose, you know, I write books that I'd like to read myself, which means, you know, a kind of a holiday read, or one like this couch would be perfect for one of my books now for me, reading it. And it's just been wonderful fun, you know, playing with characters and inventing, I have to say, some of the most handsome men in the world, present company excluded.
Well, I wish you all the best for that, and I hope it becomes a bestseller.
Oh, me too.
But what about painting? Have you ever tried that?
I am terrified about the very notion of putting a paintbrush on a piece of paper or canvas. I suppose one of the reasons is I studied history of art when I was at Trinity, so I've seen a lot of very fine paintings in my life. And my mother and my sister-in-law paint, and they're both very good, I think, anyway. And as a result, I suppose, I just thought, no, I've no talent for that, so I've never really gone near it. I'm more of a daydreamer when I go out into a landscape or sit watching a fire even. I just gather wisdom from daydreaming, looking at it. So a different matter trying to depict it.
Kilry Harbour is either Ireland's only fjord or a drowned valley. Opinions differ, but however it came about, it's one of the most beautiful natural harbours on the Atlantic. 10 miles long and 148 feet deep in the middle, the bottom is virtually flat, which is why the Royal Navy wants it a base here. Aside from British submarines which were based here during World War II, Kilry Harbour has had its fair share of visitors over the years. In their time, the artist Paul Henry, the writer Oscar Wilde and the philosopher Wittgenstein all stayed in the area. Nora Keane is a local watercolour artist whose main inspiration is the landscape of the West.
I come from Roundstone in Connemara originally. That's where I was born and reared. I left there after school and went to train as a nurse in England, and went from England to America and back to Scotland, and then came back to Ireland and got married. Came to live here in 1964 and reared a family.
And when did you first realise you had an interest in painting?
Well, I was always scribbling, always dabbling in colours. I entered a competition when I was about 10. It was in the Times Pictorial, which was a supplement of the Irish Times, and I got first in that. So my name was in print a few weeks later. So that was my first award. And when I was in nursing then, we had to draw diagrams of the human body, the femur or the heart or something like that. And I used to love doing that. I always did well in that. So it was always held up as an example of how it should be done.
Well, whenever you left the nursing then, did you go into painting full time?
No. I didn't go back to painting until my family were reared, doing their own thing. I started doing the watercolours again. I didn't sell very many, so I decided to get some of them printed as postcards and note cards, and I'd sell them to the craft shops. But little by little then people came to the house to get originals. I have a studio of my own now, and people can come in and see the paintings.
There's some great scenes of local areas. Are you inspired by the area in which you live?
Oh yes, around every corner there's a scene, no matter where you go. I always bring a sketch pad with me when I'm going anywhere, and the camera, and come back then and maybe finish it or use it in a picture. I drew a quick sketch first, and then I wet the sky using a 3/4 brush. Then I put on the blue, the Prussian blue, if it's a nice summer's day, and the yellow ochre on the horizon. Let them blend in together, and then put in a little bit of alizarin crimson to give a kind of a touch of sunlight. I do the sea or the water or the lake or whatever as well in a lighter colour. I wet that first and then apply the paint, still using the larger brush. If I was doing a cottage, then I'd put on the roof of the cottage using the number 8, the round brush. I'd sometimes just leave the painting and go away and do something else and then come back and do another bit. I wouldn't actually finish a painting from beginning to end all in one go.
I see you put an odd person into them as well.
I do. I do. It brings a bit of life to some pictures. Yeah.
I believe there's a few notable people have paintings of yours, Nora.
Yeah. The ex-president, Mary Robinson, has a picture of the Man Valley. And the present president, Mary McAleese, has a picture of Loch Mask. And Eamon O'Keefe, the Minister of State in Agriculture, he has one in his office in the Dáil in Dublin. Some people come to get maybe presents, wedding presents or birthday presents. Americans are the best buyers. They like the thatched cottages and the rural scenes of the west of Ireland, because they reckon their ancestors came from cottages like that.
What do you see yourself doing in the future, Nora?
I'm hoping to sell more pictures. Maybe next year I hopefully might have an exhibition.
Are there still areas around here you haven't painted yet?
Oh yes, yeah, lots. I might be passing the same scene every day, and then suddenly I see it one day and it's just right.
I've taken Pauleen to one of her favourite locations in the west of Ireland, Loch na Fui.
Pauleen, isn't that one of the most beautiful and most peaceful scenes you'd ever look at?
It's fabulous. It's too vast, though. How can it be done? I'm terrified now by that.
Not at all, Pauleen. It's going to be easy.
It is when you say it like that, but it is so beautiful. How could you do justice to that? I always think about the west of Ireland and Connemara and everything. There's just this fabulous, noble savagery to the mountains, isn't there? You know, they know things, the mountains, don't they? And they're not prepared to tell us.
No. But hopefully we'll get a few stories out of them today.
Well, I hope so.
And translate those stories onto the paper. So I'll let you have the pencil.
Okay.
And I'll just guide you through that. If you bring that line right across, keeping it level to about there.
Right. Oh, I shouldn't have had the sherry for breakfast, should I?
We have a bit of an audience back there.
I do, 'cause my fans are here. They follow me everywhere.
Oh, they're barking mad, aren't they?
Yeah. Now, I think we should just leave it at that. There's no need to go messing, you know, and making a mess. Oh, like, where do you start, you see, is what I can't understand. Like, all right, this is here now, but, like, where? Is there a rule, you know?
Well, there are rules, you know, and there are a few simple rules.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we can do whatever we like within the guidelines.
We're crazy.
And
we're like jazz, yeah.
Exactly, we can make it up as we go along.
Yeah, grand.
Well, if you look at the sky, it's constantly changing, so therefore there are no set rules there. But we must keep the sky dilute. If the sky gets too heavy and too fussy, then it comes forward and it doesn't recede into the background where it should be.
Right.
But you can see there is perspective in the sky as well, because the clouds that are closer to us are the largest clouds.
Right.
As they get further and further away, they look smaller. So we have to try and show that.
It
as
sounds
well.
a bit like Father Ted. These are near, those are far away. You know, not big and small, isn't it? It's kind of perspective. I can never get a handle on that.
Just by using a little bit of raw sienna and pop that in here and
That's
there.
very
Here you
pretty,
go.
isn't it? And is it kind of like just random?
Yeah,
So there's
and watch.
real...
I'll just guide
Oh.
your hand through it. Look.
Yeah.
Up and down and up and down, swirling around so that you don't cover all of the paper. The more white bits you leave in it, the better.
Okay. I'm happy enough with that now. I think we should just mount that and we're grand.
Now, here's your purple. You say you love purple.
I do. I tell you why it is. I just always seem to remember, you know, the west of Ireland in terms of like cloudy days and when the mountains are kind of like a purple stain against the sky. And I love Paul Henry as well, you see, for, you know, his paintings in Mayo. So even if it's a lie, can we put a bit of purple in?
We'll put a bit of
For
purple
me.
into it. And we'll put some purple in the mountains as well, but we'll have to put a wee bit to match it up there in the sky.
Alright.
Look at that. Crimson and French ultramarine.
You see, I'd wear that now, you know.
Oh, you are wearing it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That was the hint. What do you think of that? It's lovely, isn't it? I feel very powerful now.
So we can move on now and put in the beach while we're waiting on that there to dry.
Right.
So we can add some raw sienna, and I think we'll need a touch of light red because that sand has a lot of red in it. That's
I
not-
like that,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
No, it's
lovely.
vibrant now, Ewan. That's lovely.
So off you go
yeah.
with that.
All right.
So how are you finding it so far?
It's very exciting, you know, but I would be terrified to be alone doing it. I think I'd need the help of an adult, and, you know, and that's you.
I'll stay with
For
you,
today,
Pauline, don't you
that's
worry
it.
about that.
I know, it's really exciting, you know. I can see why people are addicted, you know.
You're going to make your mum and your sister so jealous of this. You know.
I'll be giving advice to them now. I'd say, I think you need a little bit of red in that now to warm it up, I'll be saying.
Should we put a few different colours in there?
Yeah, because it's lively, isn't it? You
It
know,
is
there's
indeed.
been...
There's burnt sienna just mixed through the remainder of that wash.
Oh, all right.
So I'll put a wee bit of neutral tint in there as well, just to darken it slightly. Because along the water's edge,
Yeah. Ooh.
see there's
Oh,
a darker
there's a- there
vein
is,
running
yeah.
through that. Do you want any purple in there?
Do you think should we put a tiny...
You might do any harm.
Maybe one little stroke
Right,
of it. What do you
okay.
think? Yeah.
Let's
So what do you
see.
think?
What about that?
Ah,
Ah,
yeah.
sure,
Do you
that's
see?
beautiful,
Now
isn't
you
it?
couldn't go wrong, could you? You know. Wee.
That's
Oh, I
great.
like that.
It looks like a shadow, you know, a little bit of shadow, footprints.
Yeah. Oh.
Footprints in the sand.
Leave only your footprints behind. Isn't that what they say?
That's right.
Ah, look, that's fantastic. Again, I think we should leave it at that now before disaster strikes. You know.
We're going to move up now to the mountains because I think the sky's dry. I'll mix the colour and you prepare yourself to put on the mountain.
I'm centering myself here now. I'm thinking mountainy thoughts.
What are they?
You don't want to know.
We're going to have to use 3 different mixes there. The first one will be a very dark green, and that's a mixture of Windsor yellow with some Windsor blue and a little bit of light red. Because look at the green, it's a browny green, isn't it? It's not.
It is.
It's not a
dark.
vibrant green. Now, starting with the big brush again, pull from the top down, but be very careful there, Pauline, whenever you're coming down the edge of the mountain, that you keep it more or less within the lines. It doesn't have to be
Right.
religiously in there.
But don't be going up into the sky, basically.
Where it gets lighter, use this brush here, and you can put in that lighter green. That's Windsor yellow with Windsor blue.
Oh, look. Oh, like magic.
Now you can use the corner of the brush again and work that across. You see, there's a house up there, but we're not worrying about that because the house is doing absolutely nothing for the composition.
No, and it's not purple, so I'm not putting it in.
That still looks a bit flat, so we need to put a darker colour in there yet.
Okay, Joe.
So this is ultramarine and light red. Now let me see. Try those.
I will.
Now start, you see the pencil line? Just put it down along that, and then we can blend them out, but don't come down too far. Do you want a bit of purple in there too?
It seems churlish not to, doesn't it? Yeah. Hand me the purple.
There you go, look.
Ah, lovely. It actually makes it lovely and warm, doesn't
does,
it?
yeah. But I must say, you're getting really good control of that brush, Pauline, and you're gaining in confidence all the time.
It's the purple. I know, my purple's in there.
You're going through your purple period.
I am, you see, yeah.
The colour of the water today is amazing. Look at that there. It's a sort of a silvery blue. How we get that there is mixing cerulean blue with some neutral tint. And that should give us a silvery blue colour. I'm just going to move over behind you here now. So
Lovely.
pulling that in, look, that is giving it more or less a match.
How are we doing there?
That's fine.
Looks nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, and the little bits of, white peeking through, it looks, the paper's helping to make it look all ripply, isn't it, and sparkling.
There you are, I'm just softening that out. Do you want to put some purple in that as well?
Oh, yeah, I think it's lacking something, and it's purple, isn't it? That's what's...
There's a little bit there. Just shoot it through. Ooh, that's a bit scary, isn't it?
Oh, but look. You see, I have no fear of it now.
We'll mix the colour for the little hill at the back, and that's very distant. You can hardly see any of the detail or the colour in that hill. But it's purple.
I was afraid to say it, but I knew all the time I've been waiting to put the purple there. This is what all the rest has been building up to. It's literally a stain against the sky, isn't it?
Are you going to keep all those brushes?
Oh, I'm not sharing. That's terrible, isn't it?
Now I need to be careful not to come into the water there because it's still wet. The water is still wet.
Odd that, isn't it?
It is. Dry water's scarce.
Yes, it is. You can't get it for love nor money.
Now we come to the bushes. This mixture is Windsor yellow with some Windsor blue and then some neutral tint just to kill the blue slightly and turn it to a very darkish green, because look at the bushes there, the furthest bush from us, the tallest one. It's very dark compared to the one in front of it. So just dotting in, look, there's more or less the colour of it. So I'm dotting the brush around to give a broken outline there, and then you can fill in the centre.
Gives a little bit of movement, I suppose,
It does.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Now,
great.
There's another dark one here, so I'll let you put that one in.
Okie doke. I've got to stop saying that. I've been saying okie doke all day, haven't I?
What does that mean?
Exactly, yeah. And I'm not that obliging,
Okie doke. But here you've created a lot of new phrases in Father Ted.
Oh, the catchphrase, of course, following me round all the time. I'm getting kind of addicted to this now.
That's good.
Yeah. I'd be a calmer person if I had a lovely pursuit like this, wouldn't I?
I'll get you a set of paint brushes and a paint box.
And I'd be off.
You'll be off into the wilds of Ireland.
Everyone will know what they're getting for Christmas from now on, My crazed imaginings.
If you look at the boat there, the wood around the rim has bleached over the years with the sun, and it's not just as vibrant as it wanted to be. So we'll start with a mixture here of burnt sienna and a bit of crimson, just to liven that up slightly.
Yeah.
I'm putting that on with the number 5 brush along that top line. You see the space that we left there for that?
Yes, yeah.
So just to do that,
Yes, lovely.
down that side there, we can brighten that up. Now, the colour of the boat itself, it's white, but over the years it has been stained with various things. So I want to get a nice dilute wash there. Let me see what this is like. That's not too bad now. It's still white, but it's off-white.
Kind of creamy, yeah.
So we'll take that on the underside where the most shadow is and follow that line down to the sand and block in that area with the number 5. Now that's just burnt sienna and water, but it's very, very pale. So now weakening that wash down again with water, we can get an even whiter colour.
Oh, that's lovely. Almost a champagne colour, I must say. One of my favourite colours.
Pink champagne.
Oh, lovely.
That green water, I think we need something there.
Yeah, because the water's looking a bit as well, yeah.
What do you want to do first, the green water or the foreground sand?
I see the green water. How about that? Would that be all right?
Good enough. It's actually a mirror image of the colour that's on the hillside and the trees here. So that's what we're trying to match. So let's start and see if this is... Yeah, well that should be okay.
Do you think, is it?
It is.
Okay.
It'll dry out a lot later than that, you see.
Right, yeah, because it does look
So,
very dark initially.
Pull that right down to the water's edge, but don't come over onto the sand. And then as you come across there, fan it out a bit like that, but keep it level at all times.
Right.
Otherwise it'll look as if it's lying at a slant. So keep it along the edge first of all, and just drag it right over. And whenever you get to the rope, you're going to have to cut up along the rope and leave a little space, because the rope is actually lighter than the water itself. Straight in now to the foreground, and that bit of texture on the sand. And it's not like the beach, you know, where the tide keeps coming in and cleaning the beach flat. Here we don't have the tide, so we're going to have to...
Keep it a little bit of oomph there.
Exactly.
Have you the colour there for oomph?
Right, the colour of
Oomph, yes.
is raw sienna, light red and neutral tint.
Ah, the neutral tint. Oh. It's oomph with attitude, really, isn't it? You know, restrained oomph.
But you know something, we need to be careful with this at the same time. I'm just going to come with a big... Look at that.
Yeah, right.
Now, I'll allow you to do that.
Oh.
And keep it at the same time level.
Level.
Otherwise it'll look as if it's gone up the hill. Try and miss bits of the paper as well, you know, just by taking the pressure off the brush.
Yeah.
Do you know what we haven't done?
The rope, actually, yeah.
We'll do that quickly. It's a beautiful green rope. And
It is very jolly on it,
bluey
isn't
green.
it?
So I'll just mix that with cerulean blue and a tiny little bit of Windsor yellow. And we'll put that in first of all. Just with the... This is the old brush.
The
one
old,
that's
the 3.5.
never used anymore. So just a couple of little dots coming down there. Like.
Yes. Oh, that's rather nice.
Now, go ahead. Just pull that across. Keep it nice and fine though, because it is a very, very fine rope.
I'm going to add more terrifying strokes, are the little ones as well, the strange ones. So.
Pull it right across here.
Oh,
that's fine,
lovely, isn't it? Yeah.
Pauleen Mc Glynn.
The time has come.
The time has come. There's the pen.
We name the guilty.
Just there.
Grand. Now you have to lean in, I guess, because of... Get it all.
Excellent.
Oh, I'll be very big-headed for a few days now. I think, you know, I can paint now.
You're great.
It's fantastic.
It's been a
Thanks,
pleasure.
Dermot. Oh, I'm unleashed on the world now.
Next time on A Wash with Colour, I'll be in County Tipperary, where my guest will be television presenter Nick Knowles. Until then, it's goodbye from Connemara. For further information or fact sheets on A Wash with Colour, turn to CFAX page 628.